Namaskar. I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive training program on data privacy and protection. You're watching us live on eVidya channels 6 to 12 and also on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. This training program is organized by CIET NCERT in collaboration with ISEA CDAC under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Today we are in day 5 of the training session where the topic that we are taking up is the ethics of data privacy. If you have questions related to the topic, please feel free to get in touch with us. Our phone number is 8800440559. Our email ID is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in and on our YouTube handle NCERT Official as well. You can send us your questions, suggestions, feedback and any problem that you might be facing. Just tell us and we will try to provide the resolution for the same. For this session, we are joined by our expert and let's welcome him. We have with us Mr. Shivansh Raghuwanshi. Sir is Knowledge Associate from CDAC, Patna, Bihar. Sir, namaskar and very warm welcome to the session.
Namaskar, ma'am.
So, first of all, we want to know about what exactly we are going to learn in this session. What are the main points that you will be covering in the session today? Because this is a very important topic, the ethics of data privacy. We provide a data, sometimes we are compelled to do the same, sometimes we have to do, but then how our data is being used and who all are actually looking at it, whether we are at threat or this will lead to some kind of cyber crime with us later on, we really don't know. So, the ethics must be followed by the companies who are using our data. So, please tell us what are the main aspects that you will be covering in the session today regarding the topic.
So, ma'am, first of all, I will be covering what was the previous issue. Like in 2023, there is one act came, DPDA, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. So before that, what was the case, and now after that act came, now what is the benefit as a user, like as an individual we are getting, and how that act can be used to save our data privacy. So all that thing I will be covering, and other than that I will be giving some other applications also, showing the government application like Aadhaar. Using that you can lock your biometric, and other than that there's another application like Try DND. So on that aspects I will also be covering, and like this I will be going on with the session.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for sharing the overview with us. Also, we would like to apprise our learners that it's a training program and there is going to be an assessment. I will share the details with you by the end of the session. And sir, now you can go ahead with your presentation uninterrupted. Whatever questions we will be receiving from the audience, we will take them up in the end, sir. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, good evening, everyone. Myself, Shivansh Raghuwanshi from CDAC Patna, and as ma'am already introduced me, so this is like our sessions going on. So this is the day 5 on the ethics of data privacy. So why we are here, why we are discussing this topic is the main issue is as today we all are using mobile phones, and we are generating a huge amount of data in today's world. So like that data can be, suppose if you are surfing online, if you are searching something on YouTube, that is also a data point you are generating. And suppose if you are shopping, ordering something online, through that also you are generating data points. Okay, so this complete collection is called datafication. So suppose if you are generating a data, and if some criminal or any multinational company gets that information, then that they can use the data against you. So what they can do, they will be getting your lifestyle, like how you are living, what all points they can pitch you, so that suppose for an example, if you are you have searched something online on Myntra, if you have searched about shoes for an example, and if you are using Instagram, so on Instagram what will happen, you will be getting recommendation of shoes. So this thing happens. So everything is interlinked. Okay, so datafication is like generating data points. Okay, and so we need to move from datafication to data protection, like how we can protect that data. Okay, so this session is basically about the data privacy, how you can protect your data, how you can secure your privacy. So today I will be covering that thing in the Indian context. So moving to our session. So this is the privacy paradox. So a price for convenience, they say. There's one very good thought. Like suppose if you are getting something for free, then you are the product. Okay. So this thing is in real life. For an example, suppose if you are using, many of you would be using Truecaller in your mobile phone to detect the or identifying the spam calls. Okay. So what the first thing Truecaller asks you is like your entire context list. So in this you are sharing your family members number, your like parents number, your grandmother's number also without their consent. You are sharing with Truecaller. But are you getting the idea like what you are giving them there is their phone numbers to the Truecaller. So what Truecaller can do on the basis of that contact, they can send the spam mails to your family members like congratulations, you have won a lottery of 1 lakh rupees, then you can claim now. And in that text message they will be sharing the link also. Or other than that, they can send like electricity bill is due to your father, that message they can send. So like there are many spam call and messages generated on the basis of that. So Truecaller, what does it do? It will just share all your contact details to the companies and the spam companies. Okay. So the thing I want to share is you, there's nothing for free. For everything you are paying in one way or the other. Okay. So moving forward, this is the privacy paradox we are getting in our mindset. So now first we need to understand the basic difference between the data security and the data privacy. So like for an example, you can understand this thing through the lock and curtains concept. For an example, suppose if you are using lock on the door. Okay. If you are using the lock on the door, so the thief from the outside can't get in your home. So like from the thief you are safe. But for in the other perspective, you can see this is the like data security is like the lock thing. If you have kept the lock on the door, then the thief can't get in. But suppose there is a window in your home, and that is a glass window, and in that you haven't kept the curtain. But then your neighbor can watch you like what you are doing. Suppose if you are eating food, or suppose if you are doing some another activity, what all you are doing. So that is the privacy. So privacy and security, these are the two different things. I will take an example of Facebook. So for an example, in case of suppose if we say Facebook has kept the password. Suppose if you want to log in into the Facebook, then Facebook has kept the password thing. So that is the data security. They are provide the data security. But they are not providing the data privacy. They are sharing your private data, like what all you are surfing, what you are searching, to whom you are messaging. That thing they can share to the vendors or other persons who require that data points. Okay. So in this way, these are two different things, lock and the curtain. So you need to understand this thing. So for that, if you can have security without privacy, but cannot have privacy without the security. Okay. So how these are the common things. So how you can save your privacy, on that point we will be coming slowly. So this is the free app economy, as I've already told. Like suppose if you are not paying for something, then you are the product. This thing is there. If the service is free, you are the product. So suppose if there is a free application, as you can see in this iceberg, on the top you are seeing that like there are many free applications like Twitter or Facebook, Instagram. These are like free applications. But in the beneath the iceberg, there are multiple things you are sharing with these apps, like your location history you are sharing your contact list, you are sharing your photo gallery access, microphone data, likes, clicks, and browsing habits. So many of you have encountered this issue with you, or maybe your relative, and they have told you this thing. Like suppose if two people are discussing about for an example, if suppose two people are discussing on insurance. Okay, suppose me and my colleague is talking about insurance, and after 10 minutes I get a call from the insurance company itself, like sir, we are giving insurance, this is. So you will be shocked if this thing happens with you. So how you are getting that call? The simple answer I would say is like the microphone data. every application, for the free application you are giving some permission, so that free application is listening to your data, and whenever it finds these keywords like insurance or like bank account, or loan thing, if they heard this thing, then immediately after 10 or 15 minutes you will get a call from the that like any of the insurance company, or like uh, or the like policy companies, you will be getting that call. So you can try that thing. It will like 90% it will happen with you. So this thing, this framing like free application thing, and in beneath they are collecting multiple data points. This economic model is called like surveillance capitalism. So through the data they are creating your prediction profile. So suppose if I'm a like that example I've given to you, like suppose if I'm searching shoes on Myntra or like watches on Myntra, then in every application I will be getting the advertisement of those things only. So they are these companies, they are trying to influence your behavior. Suppose if I've just searched, and suppose if I'm doing some window shopping, I will take example of that. If suppose if I am doing window shopping and don't want to buy that thing, I'm just surfing those things. So they will give me, these companies will give me advertisement at different places, like on Instagram they will give advertisement, or like if I'm searching you surfing YouTube, on YouTube they will give me example. So at different places they will give me example and try to influence me, like just buy it, they will give me different products. Okay. So just what this free applications are doing, then they are selling this thing to the advertiser or data brokers. Okay. And this is how like the total this model works. This is called surveillance capitalism. So protecting our digital backbone are like two things. Every one of you would be aware of these two things, Aadhaar and UPI. Like in everyone's phone, even like our parents or and grandparents, many of your grandparents, they would be using UPI also in their phones. Okay. Earlier when this UPI thing came, unified payment interface, when it came, like it was like very our parents, they were not that handy. Now the scenario is different. They, because this is like very handy thing, and you just don't need to carry cash. It can be done like online also. So these two, Aadhaar and UPI, like the backbone of our Indian economy, our digital backbone. So if, like I've already said, like if there is if something comes with convenience, then it comes with the greater responsibility also. So these two things are very important. I will give you just a simple example. Suppose if you are using Gmail, okay, if you are using Google Mail, and if you forgot your password, or like your password is stolen, okay, so then what will happen? If your password is stolen, then in that case you can create the new password. Okay. But suppose if your Aadhaar footprints are stolen, suppose if your fingerprint is stolen, then you can't make the new fingerprint. Okay. So that Aadhaar fingerprint or iris scan, that is that much, biometrics are that much important. Are you guys getting the point? Like you need to save those things at any cost. Okay. So you can't let them compromise. So because in many like rural areas, there's AEPS, Aadhaar enabled payment system are enabled. So you can withdraw the money, just like there are like kiosk setup, or small bank points, BPs are set up in the rural areas. You just those farmers or those village people are there na, they will just go and do the simple scan, and they can withdraw the money. Okay. So that is like AEPS system. But suppose if their Aadhaar biometrics are stolen, then anyone can withdraw their money. So in villages this thing is going on very common, like through the silicon thing, they can like make the copy of this anyone's biometric, and then they can use that silicon biometric to withdraw anyone's account money from their account. Okay. So this is the like very much risk with the Aadhaar thing. So you can't let your Aadhaar data to be stolen. So it can lead to the like real world threat that AEPS I have mentioned, Aadhaar enabled payment system. To that silicon fingerprint, it can be stolen. Okay. And the second thing is like UPI. So in the UPI, suppose if I'm doing some transaction through the UPI, so every transaction, like if you am doing the transaction for the school fees or like medical bills, travel or food choices, so what it will happen, it will create the map of my life. Okay, so the risk, I'm not telling you that don't use UPI. The risk can be that this can lead deeply reveal your personal information, like what is your lifestyle, how you are living. So like data points it can collect. Okay, so doing the UPI also, you need to keep in mind multiple things. Okay, so these Aadhaar and UPI, these two are very convenient thing, but they comes with a great responsibility. You need to keep those things in mind. Okay, so I will in the further as the session goes, I will give you the information like how you can block your Aadhaar also. There's like my Aadhaar application, M Aadhaar. So there's through that you can lock your biometric that biometrics in Aadhaar as well. Okay, so moving forward, as comes with the data privacy. So there a new right is born, like in 2023 DPDA came into the action, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Okay, 2023 it came in action, and for the key event was the landmark judgment by the Supreme Court in the case Justice KS Puttaswamy versus the Union of India 201 case. Okay, so in this case DPDA in this key event DPDA was born. So what what was the consequence of this is they have constitution and mandated data protection law in India. Earlier there was no data protection act, like not that much concrete data protection act in India as compared to like GDPR in European Union. There was no data protection act. Okay, so because of this key event, the law, this act was born, the DPD Act as we say. So, and other than that, one more fundamental right was added to the citizens of India, like privacy. Privacy was declared a fundamental right after this verdict. Okay, so we will come to that DPDA in the coming session. So DPDP Act, that thing was one. So the official purpose of this is an act. What was the official purpose? That an act to provide for processing of digital personal data in a manner that recognizes both the right of individuals to protect their personal data and the need to process such personal data for lawful purposes. Okay, so earlier what was the issue? Like companies were having more power, like the individual can't do much. Suppose if their data, some companies are misusing their data and doing data processing and using against the individual, then individual can't do much in that case. Earlier like companies were the big bulls, but now what this DPDP Act has done, it has created a balance of power between the individual and the organization that collect your data. Okay, so who is who in the digital world? So according to DPDP Act, there are like total four um, individuals are there. One is the data principal. So data principal is you, like the individual to whom the personal data relates. So this can include children or their parents or guardian. So for like children, for the children who is like less than 18 years old, so the data principal will be their parents or guardian. Okay, but suppose if the age is more than 18, then you will be the data principal. Okay, so data principal will be the one who gives the consent. After that, the second one is data fiduciary. Data fiduciary is the organization that collects the data for the data processing. So it can be like a school or like a social media app or a bank. So data fiduciary can be anyone. So their primary responsibility is to collect the data, and collection, like it's not like they can go and just say like give me your data to the data principal. They need to ask first, the data principal will give the consent, like I give the consent to you, to the data fiduciary, like you can use my data. So in that case only data fiduciary can use. Okay, without consent, like suppose if you are installing some application, then it asks for the terms and condition. Agree, I agree, I agree. We don't read that terms and condition. We are in that much hurry. We don't read the conditions, terms and condition. We just tick the all the boxes and say, okay, I accept and continue. So that there at that point you are giving the consent to the data fiduciary to use your data for data processing. Okay. So the as an individual, as it's our duty to read those consent, like what all data it's asking and whether it's correct or not. Okay, if it's not correct, you can deny it. Okay, and the third person in this digital world will be the data processor. So data processor will be the one, like is the middle, is the one who acts on the behalf of fiduciary. So data processor will be the one processing the data. So data processor will be working for the data fiduciary. So it can be like cloud provider or a payroll service. So it can be anyone. So data processor will work on behalf of fiduciary and he will process the data for the data fiduciary. And whose data it will process? It will process the data of data principal. Okay. And then comes the fourth one, data protection board. It's like a new independent authority established in India to enforce the law and protect your right. Okay, for the it's from the government side. Okay, new independent authority established, data protection board. Okay, so these are like total four people are there, and one more guy will come, like one more entity will come, that is like consent manager. Okay, so he will work as the middleman. We will come to it in the last. So before moving to that data like consent manager, first I want to talk about the consent. So suppose if you deny someone, like you can't process my data, then in according to DPDP Act, I am saying, suppose if you deny to the data fiduciary, like data fiduciary, keep this thing in mind, data fiduciary can process your data only when you data principal gives the consent. Okay, so it's mentioned in the DPDP Act, like the consent, these are like the consent terms. Consent will be free. Like it, suppose if you someone is giving consent, and then consent can't be forced. Consent is you can't like force the consent on the data individual. Data fiduciary can't force the consent on the individual. It will be free. Okay, and the consent will be unconditional. It should not be bundled with other services. The third property for the consent will be, it should be unambiguous. Unambiguous means it should be given by clear affirmative action. Like suppose if you ask the consent, then it should be like, if there are more consent, like it should be in the points, in the boxes it should be there, and those boxes not should be pre-ticked. User, like that data individual should only, that data principal should only check mark those boxes. Okay, so all the check boxes will not be pre-ticked. Other than that, consent should be informed. You should like it should not be ambiguous, and it should be like properly written. It should not be like ambiguous. Suppose if it should be in layman terms, the data principal should should know that what he is agreeing to. Okay, after that it should be clearly stated purpose, specific, the consent should be specific. So these are the properties for the consent. These consents that should be there in the consent that data fiduciary is asking to the data individual. Okay, so all the data processing, suppose if I have given the consent, so that for the data to be processed, so data processing must be on either your explicit consent or certain legitimate use. So data processing can be done in two ways. Like in one case, if I have given the consent, explicit consent I have given, like as a data principal, if I have given the consent, that you can do the data processing. Other than that, it can be for certain legitimate use. Suppose the government want to use that data, suppose some in some case, if some, suppose if there is some financial fraud case, for that law enforcement agencies, LEA, want to use that data. So that is the legitimate use. So in that, the consent of the user will not be required. Consent of the whom? Data principal will not be required. So there are certain legitimate cases mentioned in the DPDP Act. So for that only, in that case only, you don't need the consent of the user for using. Other than that, there's one more thing. Suppose if there's some online registration, like just free registration going somewhere, and if I've given my phone number there, so that will also not be covered in the scope of this, because these things in the DPDP Act, this thing is clearly mentioned. Like suppose if the individual has given the data, okay, if the individual has given the data and he hasn't signed some consent form or anything, that will be out of the scope. Suppose if you go to some mall or anywhere, so there are people collecting the information, like they are asking for some donation, and they will be asking your mobile number and name. If you are giving your mobile number there, then if someone is using that mobile number, then that thing will not be covering under DPDP Act. Okay, so keep those things in mind. If you are, like, what happens with us, or many of you or many of us, what happens with us, if someone asks, we just share our information. You need to value that thing, like it's a very valuable thing. If some spammer gets that information, then he can use that against you. Okay, and the best example I will like say, for example, suppose if you are using some credit card, okay, and if you enable that international transaction on that, your international transaction are on, okay, so, and if that card is like Visa card, so if I want to do some international transaction or for like, if the attacker gets that your credit card details, so in India what happens, you will be getting some OTP. If you in the like first factor authentication, what will happen, you need to enter the card details, after that CVV, and then OTP. Okay, after that only transaction will like that money will be deducted from your credit card. But suppose if you are doing some international transaction, at that moment OTP is not required. With the credit card details and that expiry month and year and CVV, with these three things you can do the transaction of any amount. Okay, so but what happens if suppose if our friend asks our with us our credit card details, we just share him on WhatsApp. Okay, he will ask like share with us the CVV. We will give him the CVV also, but you should not do that thing, because in the case of international transaction, anyone can withdraw that amount from your account. Okay, so we need to value our details, like this personal details, financial details as well. Okay, so coming to this consent thing, these are like the pointers, the properties of the consent. And the good thing in DPDP Act is you can withdraw your consent. Like suppose if I am giving consent to someone, like okay, I give the consent to process my data. Suppose if you after like some time, after like 2 3 days or like 1 month, you think like I have given the wrong consent, you can withdraw that consent also. Like there is reverse also in this DPDP Act. So right to withdraw a consent is as easy as act of giving it. Okay, so DPDP Act is going to bring a new reform in the Indian perspective, and like it will be enforced in like after 18 months from now. So these are like your new digital right as per the DPDP Act. These are like our new digital right. So right to access your information. So like you can demand at any time, like you can demand the summary of your data being processed, and with whom you have shared with that information, with whom you have shared that also you can demand at any time. You can ask the summary of your data. You have that right to access the information. Other than that, you have the right to correction and erasure. You can like request to correct inaccurate data or erase data that is no longer necessary for its original purpose. You can like request for that also under the DPDP Act. Okay, after that there's one more important right of grievance redressal. Like you have the right to have grievance addressed by the company first, and then by the data protection board. Like first you can suppose if you have given the information, and someone is like company is using it in the wrong way, then first you can file the grievance with that company. Okay. And suppose if they are not responding properly, then there's like government authorities also there, data protection board, you can tell them, they will take the action. Okay. After that, there's important right to nominate. You can nominate another person to exercise your rights in the event of your death or incapacity. Suppose like in case of bank, this thing is there, na nominee. Like you can file a nominee on your behalf. He will be taking care of your account. Okay. So same thing is there in the DPDP Act also. Like you can nominate who's to the person also who can take action in, suppose in the event of your death or incapacity. Like these are the new digital rights. So you can like see also, like this thing we haven't imagined, these things are happening, and we need to be informed in these cases. So coming to this, protecting the as in case of children, what is the special rules for the children? As I've told, like if the child, if is that individual is under the age of 18, so for the child, the data principal will be the guardian. Okay. So must obtain verified consent. So data principal is the one who is giving the consent to process the information. So if a child is under the age of 18, then the data principal will be his parent or the lawful guardian before processing the child's data. And the strict prohibitions that are kept under this is, and that data fiduciary can't process data in a way that is likely to cause any detrimental effect on a child's well-being. That they can't do. That is the first prohibition. The second prohibition is conduct tracking or behavior monitoring of children. They can't conduct the tracking or behavioral monitoring of children. Okay, so that is like banned. That is like prohibited. And the third one is directed targeting advertisement to children. They can't do directed targeting advertisement at the children. So these are the special rules for the children's data that is kept under the DPDP Act. Moving forward. So coming to the ethical dilemma in our schools. So there are two things, safety and surveillance. So I will be discussing two scenarios. The first scenarios is the WhatsApp classroom. So what is happening in the first one? There is one group made in the scenario one for the teachers. For there's like group teachers are there and students are there. So what generally happens, the teacher's personal number is exposed to all the parents and students, and like it's a like group among students, parents, teacher, everyone is there. So teacher's personal number is exposed to all the parents and students. That thing will happen. So what wrong can go here is like wrong is in case of privacy I am discussing. So what will happen, like a student can message teacher at any time, like he can message like at 10 in the night or like 12 in the night, like I am getting this doubt. Okay. Or like parent can call the teacher in the night also. And suppose if the teacher doesn't respond, so he will complain. He will complain to the principal, like a teacher is not responding to my issue. Okay, to my son's issue or daughter's issue. So this issue can happen. So are you getting the point? Like in this case, privacy of the teacher is being exploited. Okay. So this is the first case. The second case will be like student number and profile pictures are visible to strangers in the large group. So like students number and profile pictures will be visible. So anyone from the group can use it, like they can morph the picture or use the number, like they can do the stalking, like they can call. So in this case also students privacy is being exploited. So this blurs the line between personal and professional life. Okay. So this is like a very big dilemma. This is the scenario one. And coming to the scenario two is the smart classroom. So in the case of smart classroom, you have installed the CCTV to monitor every action in a classroom. Okay. So what will happen in this case? Suppose if I'm getting a feel like I am getting watched, I am someone is getting watching me. So in that case, what will happen? I will not be able to uh, make mistakes. So there is issue, there is thing there. Suppose if I make mistake, then only I'm able to learn. Okay. So but if I'm that thing in my mind, like I am getting continuously watched to the CCTV, so I will not be able to make mistake and I will not be able to learn. Okay. But the how these tech companies, application companies, they will track the students' performance and they will sell this as a product to the parents. What they will tell to the parents, like we will give you the data of the student, like what he is doing. So you can watch him continuously, like what he's doing, whether he is studying or not. But on the other way, like you are breaking the privacy of the student. So like in this case also there's like a thin line between the personal and professional life. Okay. So you can like discuss among yourself after this session, like does the constant monitoring create better or safer student, or does it create anxious students who are afraid to make mistakes? Okay. So we need to decide, like till what point we need to go to monitor someone, or like or how we can take a good action so that anyone's privacy or personal life is not affected. Okay. So in the DPDP Act, the good thing is this: there's some cost defined for everyone. Suppose if you don't follow the law, the mentioned in the DPDP Act, whatever thing is mentioned, then you will be penalized. Suppose if the tech companies suppose if the data fiduciary is there with whom you have shared given the consent to share your data, if they fail to implement reasonable security safeguard to prevent a data breach, if there are data breach in their organization, then they can be fined the amount of up to 250 crores. Okay. Other than that, if if they fail to, suppose if their data breach is occurred in their organization, and if they fail to notify the board or the affected individual in case of data breach, if they haven't informed or notified these two people, then they are charged an amount of 200 crores, up to 200 crores. Okay. And for the data breach of obligations related to children's data, if that is there, then they are charged up to 200 crores. And if in case of significant data fiduciary meets its additional obligation, then its charge are up to 150 crores. So as you can see, the act has the teeth. Okay. So if someone is not able to match whatever mentioned in the law, in the act, that if they are not able to do that thing, then they are penalized. So it's not like it's the act is only for the one side of the, like one side of the people, like it's only for the data fiduciary, it's for the individual also. For the data principal is also some amount has mentioned, we will come to that in the further slide. So coming further, like how you can, what is your can be your self defense kit. So four steps to take from today. First of all is stop the spam. So what can you do? You can register on the TRI app of the Indian government, TRI DND app. TRI is like Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. So there's one app, it is available on Play Store and iOS Store as well. So you can register on the TRI Do Not Disturb app. So what will happen if you go and register on that application today? So it will reduce the unsolicited commercial calls, or like if you are getting commercial calls like for the loan, for the credit card, or like for any insurance policy, or like any spam you are getting, then it can be reduced. It will be able to this app, through that this application you can reduce that. And suppose first if I go to Play Store and install this application and register my, like any sim you are having, you can register those sim. And suppose in case if you get some spam call, then you can report that also. It's not like it will able to reduce on its own through like if you in any case if you get the call, then you can go and report that call, and through this it will be able to add one more number in its database. Okay. So that first thing you can do. Second thing you can do is you can check your permissions. You can like in the mobile phone you can go to the settings and check the review the which application has access to which permissions, like it can be camera, it can be microphone, it can be contacts, it can be locations. Okay, so you can check which application is having which permission and you can deny it. Like for an example, flashlight application is there and it's asking for the permission of location. Flashlight you are getting, it just need that uh, light flashlight permission. Like camera permission only it's required. It starts asking for the location permission, it will be asking for the contacts permission. This all permission it doesn't need it to turn on the flashlight. It only requires camera permission, so that is enough for it. So the better thing, like for the current all the application, you can like go and check in the settings for all the application which permission you have given. And for the new application which you are going to install in future, what you can do in that case, you can just like whenever you are installing the application, check for every permission it's asking, whether it's asking context permission, files permission, call logger permission, if it's a calling permission, if it's whichever permission it's asking, just check and try to deny everything. Okay, so you should be able to give only the limited permission to the application which are required for that to run. Okay, don't give all the permission, because what happens, we are just in the hurry, we just allow all permission and start using the application. But I have mentioned in the starting of the our session that if you are getting something for free, then you are the product. That is the simple case. And the third thing in our defense kit is use masked Aadhaar. So suppose when you are checking in some hotel, don't give your complete Aadhaar card detail. Like complete Aadhaar number, I want to say here is like complete Aadhaar number, like Aadhaar is of like your total 12 digits. Okay, so don't give Aadhaar your Aadhaar card Xerox that contains all the 12 digits. Use masked Aadhaar that is available in that Aadhaar. If you go to that Aadhaar application, in there it's available. You can download your masked Aadhaar from there, and wherever you are checking in, just give masked Aadhaar as a document proof, address proof in that. So what is that masked Aadhaar? Masked Aadhaar is like a, in that first 8 digits are masked, like only last 4 digits are visible in that. Okay, so you can give that during checking in at hotel or like wherever it's required. Okay, after that, the fourth defense kit can be choose your browser wisely. So there are multiple browser available, like there is Microsoft Edge is available, Google Chrome is available. So these all application, what are they doing? They are tracking your information. Okay, uh, okay, so what you can do in this case, you can use Brave browser. And other than that, if you have seen, suppose if I'm visiting some website, there I am getting multiple advertisements are running in the site, like in the banner form in that website. So if you are using Chrome or Edge, then that thing will come very much. But suppose if you are using Brave browser, so in Brave browser, these are all advertisements are blocked by default. Okay, so Brave, as compared to security purpose and your privacy, Brave browser is very good. Because generally what happens, suppose if I am visiting some website, then what will happen, I will just click randomly, the click can happen anywhere, so I will be directed to that spam website. Okay, to that advertisement website. Okay, so but in case of Brave, those advertisement will not appear to you, and you can't go to any that website, spam website. So, and other than that, stronger built-in tracking protection is provided as a default in case of Brave browser. So you can keep these four things in mind from today on. Like first, I will register on TryDND. Second, I will check the permission for all the application. Third one is I will use mask Aadhaar wherever it's required. I will not give my like complete Aadhaar card. And the fourth one is I will choose my browser wisely. Okay. Moving forward, as I mentioned in the previous session, like previous slide, uh, one thing is biometrics. So there is Indian government application My Aadhaar, M Aadhaar. You can get it on Play Store. So what happens with M Aadhaar? as you can see in the right side, I have attached that screenshot. Biometric lock option is there, so you can go and register on this. It will ask you like a mobile number that is linked to Aadhaar, and you can go and register. So you can go inside this application, and you can block your biometrics here. So in that case, I mentioned in the previous slide, there's one Aadhaar enabled payment system, AEPS fraud. So generally what happens through that AEPS fraud, attacker is draining your bank account. Okay, so they will steal your bio fingerprint using that silicon fingerprint thing, and they will try to drain your bank account, the money from your account. Okay, so there is application, Indian government application, M Aadhaar. So you can, in that application, you can navigate to My Aadhaar, and there you can activate the biometric lock feature. Okay, so biometric lock feature, you can go and lock your biometric lock. So even if the attacker has your duplicate fingerprint or the fingerprint it has stolen, it will not be able to use that. Why? Because you have blocked your biometrics. So suppose if you want to buy a new SIM, and then how you will do? How you will buy the SIM, because your biometric is already locked, and for buying a new SIM, your biometric like fingerprinting will be required. So how you will buy the new SIM? So then again you can go to this application and you can unlock it. So like you can temporarily unlock for 10 minutes wherever you require it. It will be unlocked through this application only, and after using your biometrics again you can lock it. Okay, so this is very simple application. You can just install through the Play Store, and you can navigate to My Aadhaar and activate your biometric lock there. Okay, so as I mentioned in our that DPDP Act, there are like 4 persons are there. One is like data principal, one is like data fiduciary, one is data processor, and one is the data protection board. Okay, and there come a new ally, that is the consent manager. Okay, so what is the consent manager? Consent manager is a new entity that is registered with the data protection board. Okay, and that will act on your behalf. On whose behalf? Like you're on the behalf of data principal. Okay, so consent manager, there's one person data processor that will act on the behalf of data fiduciary, and there's one another entity consent manager that will act on the behalf of whom? Data principal. Okay, so what he will do, like what this entity will do, it will provide a single accessible platform. Okay, it will provide a single accessible platform where you can give your consent or manage your consent and review your consent and withdraw your consent with a single click. Okay, as I mentioned, like it's not like once you have given the consent then you can't withdraw it. No, it's not. In the DPDP Act, you can withdraw the consent by just a single click. Okay, so there will be one consent manager established that will be acting on your behalf. Okay, so generally what happens, suppose if a consent manager is not there, then what will happen? You will go for the grievance redressal for the that data fiduciary. Data fiduciary, if he denies, then you will go to whom? Data protection board. Okay, but if a consent manager is there, you don't need to go to both these people. Okay, you can just go to directly to whom? Consent manager. It will be providing some platform to you. Through that platform, you can just in a single click you can withdraw your consent. Okay, so for all the application it will be there, like social media, banking, e-commerce, healthcare, social, school, wherever your consent is asked, the consent manager will be the middleman for you. Okay, so he is a new ally. Moving forward, as your duties of a data principal, so it's not like it's like a win-win situation. It's like a win-win situation, but you need to go like follow the law. You need to understand your responsibilities, what are your rights. Okay, so the DPDP Act creates a two-way street. You also have duties here. So there are certain duties and there are certain prohibitions, like you cannot impersonate another person. If when you are providing personal data, then you can't impersonate another person. Okay, or you do not suppress material information when providing data for official document. Okay, and you can't file false or frivolous grievance or complaint. You can't file like false complaint or grievances. Okay, or you furnish only verifiable authentic information when exercising your right to correction or erasure. So, and suppose if you do, if the government find you doing these things, then you will be charged a penalty of up to 10,000 rupees. As I mentioned, like data fiduciary charge like some amount of money like 250 crores, 100 crore for data breach, the multiple things they are charged. So data principal, yes, you as an individual is also charged the penalty of up to 10,000 rupees if the government find you doing these things. Okay?
Right, sir. So you're absolutely right, because as a data provider also we have to follow certain rules and regulations. We have to abide by the guidelines laid down by the government. Now, sir, we are left with very little time. Hardly 2 to 3 more minutes. I request you to kindly wind up in that duration. Thank you.
Sure. So moving forward, like there is some ethical challenge. As I mentioned, like that. Suppose if you are tracking student, so this you can keep as a group discussion among yourself. Like you can create some scenario. So in that, a school proposes to introduce a GPS enabled ID card for all students. Okay, so the ID card will send the real time location alert to parents phone. Okay, so as a you can here create 3 different group. One is the student union. So student union will be opposing this thing, like you are exploiting their privacy, where they are going, what they are eating, like you can tracking their complete location. Okay, so one group you can keep here as a student union. The second group will be the parents, like parents is getting the information of their student. So and suppose if their child is lost, so they will be able to find it through that ID card. Okay, so second thing you can keep that, and the third thing you can keep as a one who are as like a school from the school side, as the aggregator between these three. Okay, so you can keep a scenario like this, and you can have a group discussion on the smart school ID card. So if you can apply the DPDP principle, like how you can do the data minimization, or like how you can purpose the limitation. Okay, so this thing you can have a discussion on what can be the ethical challenges. Suppose if we go on the smart school ID card thing. So moving forward, the future is built on trust. So complying with the DPDP Act is more than a legal obligation. It is an opportunity to build deeper, more meaningful trust with students, parents, and the community. So if I talk like in the India's digital economy, trust is the ultimate currency. Suppose trust is the ultimate currency means like there are many things like elections can also be won on the trust only, and many other things can happen on the basis of trust. So trust is the ultimate currency. So DPDP Act is that thing only. So you need to adhere by the rules and follow these rules. So coming to the end of our session. So what is your voice in the silent world? Like as far as I say, like the biometric can be that thing. So before ending that, I would like to end the session with the quote of Snowden. So what he said is, arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say. Okay, so just go home today, open your phone settings, and you can check your permissions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing those wonderful tips and tricks with us. I'm sure that after following all that you have mentioned in the presentation, we will be acting as informed citizens, and we will also take precautionary measures while sharing our data with others. Thank you so much for your time and contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And viewers, now it's time for me to wrap up this session of day 5 where we talked about ethics of data privacy. But before I leave, let me tell you about the assessment part, which is going to be one important part, and how you can actually go for the assessment. I am going to let you know. So this is a CIET website. Basically, you have to log on to the page ciet.ncert.gov.in. This is our home page. Go to the activities section, click on the workshop and training option. Now scroll down and you will find one of the current activities going on. This is data privacy and protection. When you click on the same, you will find this complete write-up about the data privacy and protection, the training program that we are conducting. Everybody can participate, and here are the details also of the day-wise training sessions which we of course conducted. When you scroll down a bit more, you find the objectives of the training as well. Scroll down a bit more, you will find the complete program schedule with the name of the resource persons along with the topics they took up, and we have all the presentations and video links uploaded here. In case you missed out on the live sessions, you can watch these uploaded sessions. And how to participate? I'm sure most of you have already registered. Now you have seen the live programs on these platforms. In case you have missed out, I've already told you that we have uploaded the link as well. Third step is very important. It is related to the assessment. These are the guidelines. The assessment will stay open till 15th March. If you attempt the same and you score more than 70%, you will be granted a certificate that you can download from DIKSHA portal in 15 to 20 days. You can also submit your feedback to us regarding this entire training program. Here is the link, click on the same, or you can just scan this QR code for the submission of a feedback. And on a daily basis, you can always write to us on our email ID training.helpdesk@ceit.nic.in. Now, this is the culmination of training program for this day, for this week. Next week, we will come up with the same training program, but it's going to be bilingual. You can again watch it and participate in the same. And now, I want to tell you that in a short while from now, you can watch another session. It's going to be Sahyog. And what all you're going to watch? Well, these are the details of the Sahyog session. And after that, you can watch a session on school leadership and development by NEPA. All these programs you've been watching since morning, they are already uploaded on our YouTube handle, NCERT Official. With this, it's a wrap. This is me, Harpreet Kaur, signing off. To participate in Sahyog, take care. Namaskar.